Bismillahirrahmanirrahim and Assalamu alaikum. In this specific session, we will discuss theory, empirical examples, and issues of reward management. This specific session is based on chapter 10 of your book on reward management. So here is a summary of the main contents that we would cover in this specific chapter. I have included a very fresh case study which illustrates how a specific organization is managing reward during the current pandemic. In the book itself, the opening case talks about Indian employees and how, in the context of airline industry, for them, money is not the everything. We will offer some introductory theories of reward management. We would also discuss some telltale signs of poor reward management in organizations. Relating to the opening case study, we would also discuss the issues of intrinsic and extrinsic rewards. We would look at different types of rewards which may be available or which may be considered by organizations, which would include base pay, performance-based pay, performance-based incentives, benefits plan. We would also discuss issues of reward communication, some critical issues, and then we would like to situate reward management in an international context. So this specific news item, I have also shared this news item with the class as a mini case study, and this is based on a number of news articles which have been recently published on this topic. That in the current situation of pandemic, where many organizations are finding it hard and finding it difficult to survive, there are a few organizations which are currently managing to not only employ new people, but also they are announcing bonuses, millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars in bonuses to their employees. Walmart is one of such examples where they have recently announced in March 2020 that $550 million will be awarded in bonuses to hourly workers. And why are they doing it? Because they have experienced a surge in sales as consumers, they are vying for stocking up different commodities such as toilet paper, hand sanitizers, food items, milk, and because many of them are forced to remain in lockdown or in a curfew-like situation in their respective cities and countries. So Walmart is one example, but other than Walmart, there are many other examples as well. For example, Domino's Pizza and Papa John's, they said that they would be hiring thousands of pizza makers and delivery drivers because once again, in the current situation, whereas some uh, industries mm, are facing a decline, there are some industries such as the food delivery and industry and the online delivery of shopping industry. They are facing a surge. Amazon said they will hire an additional 100,000 employees to keep up with the surge in online shopping. So these are some of the so this in this specific case, our focus is on Walmart, and I, as a result of this case, I also pose at least three questions: that what could be the possible reason for Walmart to announce special bonuses for its employees amid this current outbreak or what other interventions may be considered by the company to manage rewards in the company. And third, and the most important question is that we may compare reward management at Walmart with reward management at another organization, perhaps in your own country, amid the coronavirus outbreak. What similarities or differences one may see, and what could be the possible explanation? So these are some of the questions which I think would really encourage us to think more, perhaps more reflectively and more critically about the importance and implications of reward management, irrespective of the circumstances. So this is the opening case study in the book. It talks about employees in India who are working with Lufthansa, and where in 2006, the organization GGI, Global Ground India, which is a subsidiary of Lufthansa, they faced major issues in the shape of staff turnover and lack of motivation. So indeed, the company conducted a number of uh, focus interviews or focus groups with employees in order to identify that what exactly could be done within organizational policies, such as the organization's reward system, in order to improve employee retention and motivation. So based on this, the findings revealed that whereas financial incentive is important, staff rated money or higher wages as third most important factor for them for their motivation and retention. So indeed, there were two other factors which, from staff's perspective, were even more important, and those two factors are career or status, and the pleasure or enjoyment which they experience, or which they should be experiencing at the workplace. So this does indicate the importance of non-financial rewards or intrinsic rewards in creating motivation and retention in organizations. So once again, there are a few questions for students in Pakistan. I in particular encourage them that to what extent would Pakistani employees' preferences be similar or different? Once again, it could vary from industry to industry. So in your responses, you may wish to be more specific and contextualize your responses. And the third question is more person specific, that if the same choice is given to you and were you an employee of GGI or Lufthansa in India, what would be your individual preference and why? Uh, in terms of theoretical background, first let's look at the telltale signs of poor reward management. Reward mismanagement. I'm sorry for the typo. It should be poor reward management, or it should be reward mismanagement. So there are 6 telltale signs. Number 1 is perceived reward inequity or unfairness. The second is low motivation and effort. Low motivation level of employees. People are putting in less effort. The first point was about the perception of unfairness, that he or she has qualification and experience similar to mine, but they are getting 1.25 times the salary and benefits which are being given to me, for example. Third point pertains to low job satisfaction and reduced commitment. Fourth is to do with turnover, the higher intention to leave. Fifth is the fourth is the intention, and the fifth is the actual turnover. And sixth is the poor level of engagement and participation and involvement of employees in organizational decision making and affairs. So there are 4 primary objectives of employee rewards, which are listed in this slide. For example, the attraction or recruitment of right people at the right time for the right job. Then their retention, particularly retention of the of the talent or retention of the best people by satisfying their uh, work-related needs, but also satisfying their aspirations and recognizing and rewarding their contribution. The third is that the development of the required workforce by uh, recognizing and mm, compensating for their actions to enhance their knowledge, skills, and ability. And the fourth is to motivate them to contribute or to continue to contribute to the best of their ability by recognizing and rewarding high performing individuals. So these are four primary objectives of reward management, but there are also certain secondary objectives. It has to be needs fulfilling. It should give a feeling of fairness. It should comply with the legal requirement or the laws of the country. It should be economically affordable for the company. It should be cost effective in terms of value for money, return on investment, if we call it, for the company. And it should be surely strategically aligned. So reward should be given only to incentivize and recognize those actions of employees or teams which are likely to contribute to the achievement of an organization's strategic objectives. We can also, as I previously discussed, differentiate rewards between extrinsic and intrinsic uh, uh, motivation, for example. So extrinsic would be more financial or developmental rewards, which are external to the job, but they do encourage employees to work in a specific direction to a specific commitment and extent. Intrinsic may come from the content of the job itself, and here the focus may also be on competence and autonomy. So, whereas process theories would be more extrinsic oriented cognitive evaluation theory of motivation, would perhaps focus more on the intrinsic factors such as job autonomy and competence related to job. In terms of different types of rewards, one obvious is base pay, where there is a basic or foundation or fixed component of remuneration, and there are usually two basic or broad approaches towards base pay. One is job based, and the other is person based. Point factor method, in a way, is also or may also be seen as a subcategory of job based pay. So let's start with our discussion of comparison of job-based pay and person-based pay. And table 10.1 in the chapter, it very clearly compares the dimensions of job-based pay and person-based pay. Uh, Here, the focus in the first column, the focus is on job because the assumption is that it is the job which adds value to an organization, and payment should be made in compensation and in evaluation of a job's work. Whereas in person-based pay, the focus is on individuals, so individuals' worth is evaluated because the assumption is that it is the individual who would add value to an organization or to a department. So there are further dimensions which you can read in your own time. Point factor analysis has a focus on job. It is a systematic method to determine relative score for a job. Jobs can then be classified into grades, which may be used to determine pay. So jobs are broken down in terms of knowledge required, level of education, and then each factor is given a weightage, and total score is calculated. So critical factor in job evaluation is that it is the role which is assessed and not the person doing it. So that is point factor analysis. There are different benefits plans in organizations. Some are voluntary benefits, such as which is not a legal requirement, but organization Organizations do offer it, or some organizations offer it in order to acknowledge and incentivize their employees. Those could be discount loans, loans at a discount, housing subsidies, or mortgage assistance, product discounts, products or services which are being made or offered by the company are made available on discount to the company's employees and their family members, if that is also a provision. There are also flexible benefits, which may be, so some benefits may be made flexible in view of employees' age or family responsibilities, financial circumstances, or lifestyle preferences or aspirations. So individual performance may be an important component of performance related to reward plan. So those could be on the basis of merit. So pay is on merit. Increments may be decided on merit. Bonuses may be decided on merits. If certain results or outcomes have been achieved, then payments may be considered, additional payments may be considered. In many organizations such as textile and any other factory which is where certain units are to be produced, then piece rate or payment can be made on the basis of number of pieces produced or manufactured, or number of customers, for example, served. Commission can be offered on certain sales, certain targets of sales. And then goal-based bonus plans can also be announced on the basis of a project or on a monthly or yearly basis. So the previous slide talked about the individual performance-related reward plan. This specific slide talks about collective short-term performance plan, profit sharing, gain sharing, and goal sharing, which you can read in your own time. Then there are collective long-term performance plans. Once again, share grant plans, so which give employees the right to acquire or receive shares once they have achieved certain targets or they have met certain criteria. A share purchase plan, which gives them right to purchase company shares, usually at a discounted price, and then there are option plans. So performance-related options, they have also been explained in table 10.4. Once again, it's the same thing, individual plans, collective short-term, and organization-wide long-term incentives. This shows us the spread of reward scheme in different companies in the UK. So reward management is not without criticism, particularly when we are talking about performance-related rewards. So there are a number of objections, a number of concerns which may be considered. It's not that performance-related rewards are not without any benefit. Of course, there are benefits, but then there are certain downsides which should be considered. For example, there is an argument that performance-related reward may create while it may create internal healthy competition, it may also undermine intrinsic interest in the job. It may motivate people to perhaps be more ambitious for the reward instead of being committed towards job or doing a good job. They may also be seen as instruments of behavioral manipulation, appreciation, but also punishment at the same time. It may rupture cooperative work relationships where there are limited rewards and there are so many different contenders. It may discourage sensible risk taking and may also ignore or mask the reasons for underlying work problems. Pay variability, it refers to the degree to which pay outcome for any given job or maybe for different job holders may vary by performance rather than being fixed or guaranteed. So there are two critical questions for you. So is it better for an organization to have a high or a low level of pay variability? And how might the appropriateness of high variability differ across different social and cultural contexts? So think about these questions in your own time. Further critical perspectives may also be seen in the context of reward management. There are certain assumptions about what employees may find rewarding and motivating. From a multi-stakeholder or pluralist perspective, there are different people. They would be. It's likely that different people would be motivated by so many different things, and those things do not always have to be identical. So instead of a one unitarist or managerialist assumption, uh, we may have to look at people as diverse individuals, and we may also have to be more considerate of their individual preferences and lifestyles. So that was one thing. Communication of reward is also important. In some organizations, rewards are considered confidential information. In those organizations, surely there could be issues of transparency, but also there could be possible benefits of keeping the reward confidential. So you may think about these issues more in detail, and may think about and may investigate examples of organizations where communication about reward is more transparent and where it is not as open, and may consider the implications of such strategies. Uh, Employee relations, of course, they have a connection with reward management. There are important contextual factors which may be considered. For example, what kind of employment relation system or labor management system is currently there in that specific industry or country. Nature of government intervention and regulation may also be important, and the industrial practices or the practices in that specific sector may also be considered. In an international context, of course, there would be variety of expectations and variety of norms and variety of laws which may be faced by host country nationals, as well as the nationals which come from a third country or home country. So those differences may have to be considered. Uh, some possible approaches may be that either use home-based or a balance sheet approach, or the host based or the going rate approach, that whatever is happening in the market in the host based in the host country, the organizations may uniformly try to apply the same rate. It could be a region based approach or it could be a hybrid approach. So these are some of the factors which may be considered. So in this specific session, we have discussed that reward management. Of course, it's not a straightforward process. There are a number of approaches, and each approach has its own pros and cons. Each type has its own pros and cons. And in the international reward management, contextual factors and the differences of laws and norms and expectations of employees in home country and host country or third country may also have to be considered. I hope that you found this session useful, and I hope that this has helped you in developing a more nuanced and critical understanding of reward management. With this, I thank you for your time. Thanks for listening to and watching this presentation.